Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in today. Welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. As always, it's after the 12 o'clock moment, but guess what? We live, we here. And we have some amazing things that we're going to be talking about today. So for those of you that are coming on, I want you to please, if you can, I want you to, there we go. Now I'm looking better. I want you to hit that like button and that share button and tag Lolly Dolly, everybody. Tell them Prophet Ramone is live. He is in his house today. And we are excited about what we're going to discuss today. I'm just amazed. It's been 8 weeks since we started the Ramonepreston Show, at least streaming live Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock noon. And I got to be honest with y'all. I know it don't look like it sometimes because we don't have a whole lot of people that are on the live. But when I tell you, we get such an overwhelming response a lot of times after the show airs, especially on YouTube. Y'all know YouTube is one of those platforms where you basically go on anytime you want to after the show is aired, and once it processes and uploads. And so we just get an overwhelming response. So shout out to all of my Facebook tribe members. I love you. Our YouTube tribe members, I love you. We just got a notification from YouTube that we crossed 70,000 views, and we just had like several thousand just within the last few days. So we're starting to get some momentum. A lot of people are starting to catch drift of what we talking about, what we sharing, what we're educating our people on, especially when it comes to business. That's my core competency. I mean, my whole organizational enterprise is centered around what I know about business, how to start a business, how to start an organization, for-profit or non-profit, how to structure it correctly. I teach a lot about the holding company concept, in which you can use that concept in a non-profit and a for-profit organization. And then we teach how to scale that holding company concept. And so a lot of people are very interested in starting holding companies and structuring them correctly. And that's what we've built the core of our business around. We have a coaching program that is designed to help individuals, entrepreneurs, and ministry leaders start, structure, and scale their organizational enterprises. We have an entire RP Consulting Group division that we've set up as a firm to provide corporate consulting, executive consulting, and consulting for small business owners, solopreneurs, self-employees, independent contractors, and even individuals who want to figure out, how can I implement these business principles into my personal finances? And of course, we got the world-class blueprint game plan, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I am embarking on a big project within the next few weeks that's going to take our blueprint game plan to a whole nother level. I'm talking about to a whole nother level. My goal is for our blueprint game plans to get into the hands and to get in front of the eyes of at least 1 million people. I truly believe there's at least 1 million people just in the United States of America alone that needs access to our world-class blueprint game plan. So if you know anybody at any point who is looking to educate themselves in financial literacy, in entrepreneurship, in owning a business, and starting and structuring it correctly, if you know anyone who's interested in formulating the right legal entity for their nonprofit and structuring it correctly and operating it correctly, if you know anybody that wants to get into real estate investing, who wants to understand the world of family legacy wealth building, then you need to direct them to Ramonepreston.com. Ramonepreston.com. We're working on launching a new web page specifically for our blueprint game plan. We're launching a major kind of like guerrilla marketing campaign, and I'm working on the logistics right now, me and a few other people that's on my team and a part of our squad. So anyway, it's a lot of great things going on. If you missed yesterday's show at 12 p.m., I came back at 5 yesterday p.m. to follow up on some of the things that I talked about on yesterday's show. We're in a very sensitive time right now, okay? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people are getting stimulus checks. A lot of people are getting their income tax returns. And a lot of people who getting these checks and returns, shout out to all of you who are, they are looking for ways to invest some of their money. A lot of people want to take a portion or a percentage of their income and they want to put it in a system. They want to really, get to the next level. And I commend you and I salute you for that. And I'm here for you. I'm here for my tribe. I'm here for my people. My assignment in this season of my life is to educate you, to empower you, to enlighten you, to give you the right information to make the best educated decision about your finances, about your business, about ministry, about investing, about building a legacy of wealth for you and for your family. And so today's show is going to be centered around owning assets over liabilities. That's what I want to talk about today. Owning assets over liabilities. Owning assets over liabilities. Now, I got a lot of stuff that I can talk about when it comes to owning assets over liabilities. And guess what? Everything that I'm talking about in this show, like every show that we've had for the past 8 weeks now, almost 40 shows Monday through Friday for the past 8 weeks, they're all on YouTube. They're on other platforms like Facebook as well. It's just hard to go back and navigate on Facebook. It's easier to go to YouTube and you could flesh through those shows and you can binge watch what you want to watch. It's just easier to navigate through it. But either way, all of the shows, all of the information, all the things that we talk about on the show, they are all in my personal playbook, which is my Blueprint Game Plan program. So if at any time you hear things that I'm talking about and you like, oh my God, I got to get more of that information. I want to learn more about the holding company. I want to learn more about real estate investing. I want to learn more about financial literacy. I want to learn more about that wealth building tactic or technique or strategy that Prophet Ramone talked about. All that information is in our Blueprint Game Plan programs. And so our Blueprint Game Plans are literally life-changing. A lot of people are being educated, a lot of people are being trained, a lot of people are being well informed so that they can make the best economic decision as possible. So when it comes to owning, where my pen at? When it comes to owning assets over liabilities, there's a lot we can talk about, but I wanna start from the foundation, and then we'll build a solid framework, which, by the way, if you have any questions, drop the questions in the comments. If for some reason I don't answer the question immediately, you can feel free to text the question or just call in with the question. And that number is 404-478-7213. 404-478-7213. Isn't it a beautiful day in the neighborhood, the Buckhead community today? It's beautiful here. It's a little rainy. We had a few sprinkles, but it's still beautiful. The weather is absolutely amazing. I love it. It ain't freezing anymore. Wherever you are, I hope your day is going well. I hope this season brings you such Jesus joy and such peace and freedom and flexibility, especially if you are a recipient, excuse me, especially if you are a recipient of the stimulus checks and of the income tax returns that are being released. If that's you, I just salute you. I congratulate you. I'm so happy for you. And I'm proud of you just for navigating through probably one of the worst one-year seasons we've seen at least in a very, very long time in the United States of America. And I'm talking about the COVID-19 season. It's been a year since we started the quarantining and the mask wearing and the downsizing and the bankruptcies and the closures and on and on and on and on. But you navigated through it. You're here, you're listening to me, you're watching me, you're in the game, and you're doing your best to move forward. So I celebrate you and I salute you. Owning assets over liabilities. Here's the first statement I want to make, and we want to make this the foundation, okay? And some of y'all can type this statement in the comments. The goal is to own more than you owe. I want you to write that down, okay? I said the goal is to own more than you owe. The goal is to own more than you owe. I want you to write that in the comments. I want you to jot that down if you're taking notes. The goal is to own more than you owe. This is going to be the foundation for this conversation, this discussion, this show on owning assets over liabilities. Why do you want to own assets over liabilities? How do you own assets over liabilities? Well, the foundation of this whole conversation piece, this discussion, this lesson, the foundation, if you're going to lay a foundation, your foundation need to be that your goal is to own, O-W-N, more than you owe. That's a powerful statement, y'all. It's a powerful statement. And for some people, it's controversial because depending on who you listening to, depending on where you're getting your financial advice from, your business advice from, depending on what you have developed in your mind to be true when it comes to financial literacy and business ownership and wealth building, depending on all that, it's going to determine what you feel about that statement that I just made. Because if you got the wrong information, you ain't trying to owe nobody. Especially if you biblical, owe no man nothing but to love him. But that doesn't necessarily mean that scripture is a financial principle. Just because that scripture says that doesn't make it a financial principle. That's ridiculous. And truth is, that's bad theology for somebody to extract that verse and exaggerate it and reach so far into a certain segment of society or to a certain area of life that they're going to suggest and conclusively believe that to owe no man nothing but to love him is a principle that needs to be applied to your financial life. In that case, then how did you even get here? That's one of my statements that I make. My daughter, my PA, she be laughing at me. How did I get here? You having a how did I get here moment. If you really believe the scripture of owing no man nothing but to love him should be applied to your financial life. That's why I said your basis, your foundation for this discussion should be the goal is to own more than you owe. The goal is to own more than you owe. Now let me filter this for a moment, because number one, you have people that are in my space that are on social media. They are gurus, they are the financial experts, and a lot of them are doing well. And I salute them for what they're doing, whether I agree with a lot of their financial philosophies or not. But there are some who just don't believe owing anybody is good. I disagree with that because I have a different financial philosophy. I have a different perspective of financial freedom, and I operate by a different set of views when it comes to creating wealth, which means I understand the power of owning can actually be leveraged by owing. Did you catch that? The power of owning can be leveraged by the power of owing. It's called leverage. In other words, if I own a business system and I can use that business system to owe you $1, and I can put that $1 in my business system and go make $10, then the power of owning a system that gave me the leverage to use the power of owing you $1 made me 10. And there's so many other different mathematical calculations that you can connect owning with owning to, but the bottom line is this: you have to have a belief that if you own more than you owe, it doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to owe people. It just means that whatever you owe, you're owing it because you've connected owing it to what you own. So this is why ownership is very, very important, because if you're going to own assets over liabilities, then that means you're going to owe somebody. Now, again, there are people who don't agree with that, but the people who don't agree with that may not be trying to get where you're going, or they may just have a different way of getting there. They may have a different financial philosophy, but for the 90% of us who understand that we have to use the leverage of the power of owing and owning so that we can get more assets over liabilities, we get the memo. If you don't understand anything I just said, that means you need to keep listening to people like me, and you need to be educated by people like me so that you can know how to make the right financial move. So the bottom line, the basis, the foundation of this show that's centered around owning assets over liabilities is centered around the statement that the goal of your financial life, the goal of your economic life, the goal of your financial freedom, your wealth building should be to own more than you owe. All right? Okay, so we want to own more than we owe. Doesn't mean we don't want to owe. It just means we want to own more than what we owe. If we can figure out a way to own more than what we owe, we're going to always be able to take care of what we owe, because what we owe is less than what we own. I hope I didn't confuse you there. So we want to own more assets than we own liabilities. Now, how are you going to develop a system? How are you going to create a framework so that you can gauge if, in fact, you are creating more assets, acquiring more assets than you are liabilities? How can you gauge? How can you always stay on top of making sure that you are owning more assets than you own liabilities, and you're always owning more than you owe, even though you're using the owing to get more ownership and to have more assets? How can you gauge that? What type of system do you need? Well, you need to understand the fundamentals of a balance sheet. If you've never heard of a balance sheet is simply a financial statement. It is some type of statement that is showing what your current financial condition is, based on assets, based on liabilities, and based on your overall net worth. So in order to really stay on top of assets and liabilities, to make sure that you're owning more assets than you are liabilities, is for you to not just create a balance sheet, but understand how to evaluate a balance sheet, not just to create one. Because you could go to any financial app, you could go to QuickBooks, you could go to whatever financial management software that you use. You could just get a piece of paper. Like, you can literally get a piece of paper, and on one side of the paper, you can put a line down the middle, just like that. You could put a line down the middle, just like that. You see that? And on one side, you could put assets. The other side, you could put liabilities. And on the bottom, you could just put net worth. All right? I just did you a scribbled version of what a balance sheet is supposed to look like. You see that? You got assets, you got liabilities, and you got net worth. This is how you're going to make sure you continue to monitor what you're owning in terms of assets and liabilities, and always make sure you can properly evaluate it to see to it that you own more assets than you do liabilities. Now, for those of you that are not in the Stone Ages, that don't have to use compositions and pieces of paper and notebooks, they have this thing called apps. They have this thing called software that you can download on your phone. You could download on your tablet. You could download on your desktop, on your MacBook, on your laptop, on whatever it is that you have as a piece of technology. And you can download these financial management apps or financial management software. When it comes to personal financial management, they have amazing free apps on the market. One of the most popular free apps is called the Mint app, M-I-N-T. It's the Mint app. Mint is empowered by Intuit, which is the same company that powers QuickBooks for Business. One of the reasons why I recommend the Mint app for personal finances and the QuickBooks app for business financial accounting is because they're both powered by the same company, which means if you can familiarize yourself with one, it'll be an easier transition for you to familiarize yourself with another. So even if you don't have a business, you still need a financial app as a personal financial management system. Why? Because you want to know what your balance sheet looks like. You want to stay on top of your assets and your liabilities and your overall net worth. If you have a business, then that means you need a personal financial management app like Mint, and you need a business or entrepreneurial financial management app like QuickBooks. Because even if you're just doing side work, even if you just got a hustle that you do every once in a while, even if you are a freelancer, you could just be some type of professional that's licensed to do a certain work. You could be a network marketer. Guess what? You still need to have a financial management app so that you can properly assess and evaluate your balance sheet. If you don't understand the proper assessment and evaluation of a balance sheet, I guarantee that you probably got more liabilities than you do assets. Call me out when I'm lying. Call me out when I'm capping. But I know I ain't lying or capping, because most people who don't manage their personal finances or their business finances have probably little to no assets, and they have a whole lot of liabilities. So I want to give you a simple working definition for the assets, for the liabilities, and for the net worth, so that you can start creating and acquiring and going through the process of evaluating and assessing your assets over your liabilities. Here's what an asset is, or here's what you should initially use when you are creating a balance sheet for yourself to categorize what you have. Your assets are things that flow money to you. That's what you want to define an asset as. I want you to define an asset as anything that flows money to you. Now, there could be people who are assets, especially if you're working with people, or you partnering with people, or if you hiring people, or you outsourcing certain things to people that are generating money or that are flowing money to you. An asset is something that flows money to you, which means the other side of that is a liability. And a liability is something that flows money from you. Now, again, it took me years. It took me a lot of mistakes. It took me losing a lot of money. It took me bumping my head a whole lot of times to figure out that I had a whole lot of liabilities on my asset column. Because I thought just because something was valuable to me, or even if something had some type of monetary value that I could gain from it, only if I sold it, I figured that it was an asset. But if you take a step back out of your emotions, if you take a step back out of your own limited perspective and understanding of economics, and you put together a legitimate balance sheet where you have assets on one side, that's just the paper version, and liabilities on the other. And if your assets are defined as things that flow money to you, there are going to be a whole lot of things you have on that asset column that you're going to move over to the liability column. For example, excuse me, your car is not necessarily an asset just because your car gets you to and from work. Don't mean that's an asset. It means it's a form of transportation. It's a necessity, but it's not an asset. Because if your car was an asset, then go buy 10 of them. If your car was an asset, why don't you go buy 10 of them? If a piece of jewelry you got that's worth $4,000 is an asset, why don't you go buy 10 of them? If you got a necklace or a ring that you consider an asset because it's worth $2,000, then why don't you go buy 10 of them? One of the reasons why you don't go buy 10 cars like the car you got, or 10 rings or watches or necklaces or purses that have some type of value, or some type of some masterpiece of art or something. The reason why you don't go buy 10 of those is because if you buy 10 of those, number one, you probably can't afford 10 of them. Number two, you'll probably have to go get a loan and owe somebody to go buy 10 of them. And number three, if there's a number three, you will have 10 of those assets in your house, in your garage, at a safe, in a storage, or wherever you put them, right? But none of those 10 things will flow money to you. You'll be paying money to keep those liabilities. So you have to put those in the proper category on your balance sheet. So your balance sheet should have assets, things that flow money to you. Well, Prophet Ramone, is my house an asset? Well, it depends. It depends. If you go buy a house and you paying a mortgage for 30 years and you're just living in that house is a liability. It's an asset to the bank because the bank is getting money flowing to them every month. But on your balance sheet, it's a liability. You see how that game can be played? So you can purchase a certain item, and that item will be on the bank's balance sheet as an asset, but it will be on your balance sheet as a liability. It could be a piece of jewelry. It could be some type of investment that you believe has value. But if the value is just in when you sell it, you can't just put all your money in things that will be valuable or considered assets when you sell it. Because now you have to be dependent upon the market. You have to be at the mercy of trends changing. You have to be at the mercy of the demand or the supply against the demand for that item or that thing that you have that you call an asset. You have to put your money in things that flow money to you, that create cash flow opportunities for you. Those are the things that you have to consider assets. Here's the truth. For some of you that have businesses, hiring a person rather than investing in something outside of a human being is more of an asset to you, because that person can help flow more money to you than some other type of investment. Think about that. Think about that. If you hire a person and you're paying a person a certain dollar amount, and the work that they're doing 40 plus hours a week is creating a certain return consistently, and that return is unlimited as long as they continue to do the job. You can either continue to keep that person growing, or you can bring on 2 of those and double that amount, or 10 of those and 10x that amount, because those individuals have become assets to you because they're flowing money to you. So when you put your balance sheet together, if you're already on a financial management app, if you're already using some type of financial management software, you need to go into that system to find if they have a section that's already designated for a balance sheet. And you need to start developing the skill set of assessing, analyzing, evaluating, and looking over all the details of the assets that you have and the liabilities that you have, and what is the difference between the two, because your goal is to own more than you owe. Now again, if your balance sheet is made up of assets, liabilities, and your overall net worth, and you know that your goal is to own more assets than you own liabilities, not necessarily to not own liabilities or owe, your goal is just to own more assets than liabilities, because a lot of those liabilities can actually be making you money, and some of those liabilities can be paid by your assets. So if there's a certain liability that I want to go buy, there's a certain item that I want to go purchase. Like, I have a couple things on my mind that I know are liabilities. They don't make me no money. They not really gonna have no monetary value in my day-to-day life, but I just want them, like I generally do. I'm always thinking about, how can I accumulate more assets? Or how can I accumulate more things that we call assets to flow money to me, so I can take a portion of that money that I got from an asset that flowed money to me and go put it in a liability that I know ain't gonna make no money for me. It's just gonna make me look good. It's just gonna make me feel good. It's just gonna impress other people that see me with it. Because a lot of times that's what we do. We buy liabilities because we just want to impress people. We just want to feel good about ourselves. We just want people to see that we're actually getting money. We're actually doing well. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. That's how we do it. We live, we enjoy life, but we don't want to have more liabilities than we do assets. So I'm not saying not to have no liabilities, because it's unrealistic. There's no way you're going to live and not have liabilities. You're going to have, now you don't need more liabilities than you got assets. Whether it's people, whether it's things, whether it's businesses, whether it's investments, you want to have more assets than you have liabilities. But nevertheless, we got some liabilities that we want. Okay, some of the clothes we wear, if not all the clothes we wear, they liabilities. The shoes and the designer things that we buy are liabilities. The jewelry, the bling, the cars, and where we live at, a lot of that just be liabilities. We just doing it because we want to feel good, we want to look good, we want to make an impression on people, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. People who always talking about something wrong with that are people who just never had it, or they pursued it and they gave up on it, and now they're trying to make sense as to why they don't have it. And the way they make sense of it is by hating on the people who pursuing it and who got it. So we ain't paying them goofballs no attention. We focusing on making sure that we own more assets than we do liabilities. So what is one of the first assets you can actually own? Think about that. What is one of the first assets you can own? Does anybody know what one of the first assets is, or what one of the first assets are? Whatever terminology you want to use. What is one of the first assets you can own? If the goal is to own more than you owe and to own more assets than liabilities, what exactly is one of the first assets you can own? Does anybody know that? I got to look at some of the comments to see if anybody knows what is one of the first assets you can own. I want to see if anybody know it. I want to see if anybody know it. Julian on YouTube, thank you so much. I appreciate you if you're still watching. Thank you so much. Does anybody know what is one of the first assets you can own? Does anybody know? I guess I'm gonna have to start challenging y'all to answer the question and giving away some cash apps to people who get the questions right. I thought about that a couple weeks ago, and I was just having a problem with my cash app. So I said, you know what, I ain't gonna start none that I know I ain't gonna be able to finish. Latonia, Tony, on Facebook, you are correct. One of the first, assets that you can own is a business. Think about this. You can own a business when you can't even own a car. You can own a business when you can't even own a house. You can own a real business that can actually have no limitations. Cars have limitations. Cars have expiration dates. Houses have limitations. Houses have expiration dates. But a business can continue to grow. A business can continue to expand. A business can continue to evolve. A business can continue to remain on your asset column of your balance sheet. Why? Because your business can continue to flow money to you. Now, if you got a business and you ain't making no doggone money, put that business in the liability column. If you ain't even trying to get your business to make no money, put that business in the doggone liability column. Please do that. Please do me a favor and put your business in the liability column, because we ain't finna be around here just owning no businesses and we ain't making no money from our business, all right? Okay, so if your business is one of the first, assets that you can own, then if you don't have a business, why don't you have a business? If a business can be one of the first assets, now there are certain things that you can do with your business even if you're not making money in your business, if you're not generating a lot of revenue in your business. That means you might not have a whole lot of products and services that you are selling or that you can sell. You're just developing ideas, you're coming up with different strategies, but your business can still be an asset, because on one hand, your business as an asset can minimize your tax liability. On the other hand, your business as an asset can maximize your tax deductions. So while your business may not be generating a substantial amount of new income, it can minimize your tax liability with your current income, and it can maximize your tax advantages, which means it's going to help create a flow of money to you, even if it's just deferring certain tax liabilities, leveraging it with tax advantages and deductions, giving you more financial freedom and wiggle room to create the products and services you need to create, to sell them, to see more money flow into you. So your business is an asset. Everybody should own a business, especially every family in the Black community and the faith community. You should all be owning businesses. Every family should have a business, even if it's just for you to give your children something to learn about and to work in and to do research and development for. It is worth the money you pay to start a business, to structure a business, and to keep that business active and managed and maintained on a day-to-day basis, even if it's just giving your children or your grandchildren or your spouse or your siblings a gateway to get into a new world, to find out new things. So your balance sheet is made up of three things. What are those three things? Assets, liabilities, and net worth. Your assets are things that flow money to you. You need to use that definition when you are categorizing and compartmentalizing or itemizing your assets and liabilities on your balance sheet. Why? Because let's say if you have some piece of jewelry, and that piece of jewelry is worth several $1,000s. Okay, that piece of jewelry may be worth several $1,000s when you sell it though. when you sell it though. But you ain't finna go sell that piece of jewelry tomorrow. So that's not real income that you got coming in. You would have to sell that piece of jewelry to realize that income. So you don't want to put all of those assets on there, but don't make a realistic assessment of your liabilities from the perspective of what's bringing money to you and what's taking money from you. Let me make it a little easier for you. If your asset column is full of watches, items that have value when they're sold, but your asset column has nothing in it that's flowing money to you, guess what that means? That means you are full of liabilities and you're probably bankrupt and broke and struggling, because you can't have a whole list of things in your asset column that have value, resale value, right? They have resale value, but you got to take them to the market. You have to resell them in order for you to realize that money. So you don't want to confuse valuation of an item with what an asset should be in terms of something that's flowing money to you. A lot of people make that mistake, I'm telling you. And that mistake has cost a lot of people a lot of money and a lot of opportunities, because your asset column can't be full of stuff that has resale value when you sell it. Because if everything you got resale value, then you ain't got no money. You don't have no cash flowing to you, which means you don't have more opportunities. And in order for you to have another opportunity, you're gonna have to sell something just to find an opportunity. Sell something just to pay your bills. You need cash flowing to you. And then you don't wanna take liabilities and put them over in the asset column, because it may be a liability, like your car. If you have a loan on your car, you can say, oh, my car is an asset because my car is making me money. No, your car is a necessity. It is a means of transportation, and it is taking your behind to work so you can work for that money. Your car ain't working for that money. Duh. Come on, y'all, talk to me. You know I'm telling the truth. My car's an asset. Hi. Is your car self-driving? Is your car just getting paid for people to look at it? No. You are the asset that's getting in the liability that's going to work to make the money, and you're giving your car the credit when your car is really a liability, because it's taking your hard-earned money from you every 30 days. And again, that's cool if you have factored that into your balance sheet. So it don't matter if you paying money for a car every month, or you just blowing money on jewelry or designer clothes or doing whatever you want to do. That's fine, but make sure you properly assess that. You properly define that as something that it is, as opposed to making a liability asset just to make yourself feel good. Because making yourself feel good is going to keep you in debt. Making yourself feel good is going to keep you broke. Making yourself feel good is going to bankrupt you. So your assets are things that flow money to you. Your liabilities are things that flow money from you. Now, how do you determine your net worth? Well, the easy way to determine your net worth is to take all your assets and their overall value. That's where valuation is going to play a big role. You take all your your liabilities, and the monetary value of your liabilities, and you deduct liabilities from assets, and whatever you have left is called net worth. So you either have a negative net worth, most people don't have an even net worth, or you have a positive net worth. So if I have $20,000 worth of assets, things that I know have value, when you're valuating your net worth, you have to add the valuation to your assets. But you just don't want to use the value of things as your asset column when you don't have anything flowing money to you. But if you want to determine your net worth, you want to get an assessment, a proper evaluation of your overall net worth, you're going to take your assets and the value of those assets, and then you're going to take your liabilities, and you're going to minus all your liabilities from your assets so that you can determine the proper valuation of your net worth. So if you got $20,000 worth of assets and you got $16,000 worth of liabilities, that means you will have $4,000 of net worth. If you have $100,000 worth of assets, $20,000 worth of liabilities, that means you would have $80,000 worth of net worth, $80,000 net worth. So that's very important for you to familiarize yourself with. One of the easiest ways to familiarize yourself with it is to keep doing those calculations, keep doing the math. Use a financial management software or app to keep working on it every day. And to be honest with yourself about what is a liability minus the value of the liability, and what is an asset rather minus the value of the asset. What is a liability? And then start doing some scenarios with math on what your overall net worth is. That's very, very important, especially if you are a business owner. If you're a business owner and you want to build a successful organizational enterprise, I'm talking about for real, and you really want to take it to that next level, you're going to have to be very good at understanding your balance sheet, understanding your assets versus your liabilities, and being able to evaluate what your overall net worth is. That's going to be based on everything that you have that's an asset. And then you start adding that value to it when you're coming up with your net worth, not when you're just trying to flesh out what's flowing money to you and flowing money from you. Because again, you'll be full of things that have value on the resale market, but they're not flowing money to you, and you're not selling everything. So that's really not real money, that's just value. And we don't want to build our businesses or our financial lives just around value when that value ain't creating cash flow for us. That's what we need in order to continue to live and in order to continue to increase the quality of our lives. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's show on owning assets and liabilities. If you want to learn more, about assets and liabilities, I want to encourage you to go to Ramonepreston.com. Ramonepreston.com. I'm getting ready to pull up the website behind me so that you can see it for yourself. Ramonepreston, Ramonepreston.com. And when you go there, let me see if I can pull it up, Ramonepreston.com. And when you go to Ramonepreston.com, this is our main web portal. You will see in the menu our consulting group, our university, and all the things that we have going on. This is our main web portal. But if you scroll down, you will see that Ramonepreston.com is actually the home of the Blueprint Game Plan. And if you want to learn more about what we're teaching on the show, what we're sharing and educating you on, you can go to Ramonepreston.com. You can locate a blueprint game plan that fits your personal or your professional criteria. If you click on one of those, like I just did, it's going to take you to our university training platform. This is a very secure platform. I guess I'm safe to say, without bragging, that it is a very sophisticated training platform, because this is where we educate and train all of our Blueprint Game Plan clients, all of our coaching clients. We even send people that we consult on a professional level to our platform to learn certain things along with the consulting that we provide for them. When you go to the Blueprint Game Plan, you will see all the courses that we have. This is one of our signature Blueprint Game Plans. This is our ultimate all-in-one Blueprint Game Plan. And we have an entire manual for our Blueprint Game Plan to walk you through our 5-step wealth building system. We have an introductory course. We have a goal setting course. We have financial literacy courses. We have more courses. Let me scroll down. We have entrepreneurship courses. We have courses on corporate executive roles for those of you that are wanting to build an executive team. We have courses on prophetic business solutions, showing you how to pivot in a pandemic, how to create economic certainty in uncertain times. We have an entire program on the sales and business of network marketing and independent contracting. We have an entire program for churches and nonprofits in this. We have an entire real estate investing program, and one of the most common courses and programs that we have is our course on starting and structuring a holding company. So everything that you just learned today is actually in our ABCs of financial literacy. I'm gonna click on that real quick to show you. If you scroll down, here's the ABCs of financial literacy. This is a course, and when you scroll down right where it is, right here in our 11th module, I'm gonna click and open it up. You can do all this when you're going through the program. Even if you don't purchase it, you can still open up the modules to see what we have. So we're teaching on understanding the B of balance sheets, the 3 elements of a balance sheet, and there are other courses in there to teach you everything you need to know about financial literacy. So I wanna encourage you, if you want to be educated and trained properly on financial literacy, on entrepreneurship and owning a business and investing and wealth building, I want to encourage you to go to Ramonepreston.com and click on one of our blueprint game plans so you can learn about our blueprint game plans. You can go to our training platform. You can click on any program we have. You can click on any program. This is our manual. If you click on it, it's going to show you what's all in it. Any course or any program you click on, we show you everything that's in it. Creative cash flow, that's a course. Let's click on it. It'll show you all the courses that you're gonna be taught. You can open each one up. It'll show you everything that's in each one. All the classes you're gonna learn, all the videos. We have hundreds and hundreds of videos that we use in our training program. It's definitely world class. It's definitely one of the most sophisticated financial and business training programs that's on the market. We just don't have the exposure that we're working on getting. And my goal is to make sure that we do everything we can do to put this blueprint game plan into the hands of at least, my goal is 1 million people, and we probably have an opportunity to do much more. For those of you that need more hands-on training, you actually need me personally to walk with you through your financial process, your business building process, your ministry development process, whatever process you're going through. You might need more hands-on training. We have currently opened a 1-year business coaching program. If you go to our website, our main training platform, you'll see that we currently have, up to this point, we've only had a 90-day coaching program available. And our 90-day coaching program has literally worked wonders for so many people. And when I'm talking, don't think that I'm capping, don't think that I'm exaggerating. I mean, we really have helped people in a major way with our business coaching program. And it was structured as a 90-day coaching program. So what my team and I decided to do was to introduce a business coaching program and provide 4 of our 90-day coaching programs for the price of 1. So instead of you paying for 1 90-day coaching program, you're gonna pay for it, but you're gonna get 12 months. You're gonna get 4 90-day coaching programs. And we put together a 1-year executive business and financial coaching program. It's for individuals, even if you don't have a business or ministry yet. Probably by the time you get through the coaching program, you're gonna have a business or ministry or both, because we're gonna show you how to structure that and how to use it even to leverage whatever income you got coming in. If you're an entrepreneur with a business or a couple businesses, we're gonna help you restructure it, reset it, represent your products and services. It's a lot of work that we're gonna do for 1 year. My goal is to get everybody in our 1-year coaching program into 6 figures and beyond. And so we are starting this 1-year coaching program April the 1st. And if you are interested, if you know, I just need you and your team to walk with me, and there's no way you're gonna walk with me for a year and I don't get to where I'm going. If that's you and you're really interested in it, here's what you need to do. You need to text the word coaching, text coaching, to 404-478-7213. Text the word coaching to 404-478-7213. Text the word coaching to 404-478-7213, and we are going to sign you up, plug you in to our one-year business coaching program. We're going to send you an initial assessment form for the coaching program. Once you fill that initial assessment form out, we're going to follow up with you within the next week or so, and that follow-up coaching call is going to be more of a preliminary coaching call that we can make sure you can go over your one-year schedule for the coaching program. We're going to go over the coaching agreement that we have with you, and then we're going to schedule our first one-on-one coaching session, and then we'll move on into the one-year coaching program. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be life-changing. I have so many creative things that I am continuing to add to our one-year coaching program. We've already added 52 weeks of coaching calls, group coaching masterminds. We're going to have some masterminds in person. Some are going to be virtual, but we're going to have a lot of in-person sessions for those of you that want to show up in person, one-on-one, and with the group coaching session masterminds that we're going to do. We're going to have virtual training assignments. So that means if you don't have our blueprint game plan, but you're in our coaching program, you're going to have access to our blueprint game plan, because some of the training assignments and homework assignments that you have are going to be based on some of our training courses. So you'll have access to that for free. If you already purchased our blueprint game plan program, we're going to deduct that purchase from your coaching program. So text the word coaching to 404-478-7213. Everything that I'm talking about, you could go to Ramonepreston.com and see it for yourself. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow right here on the Ramone Preston Show at 12 o'clock.